Hello and welcome back to Aetheral Space 17.26 Beyond Bullseye Part 2.
We are back. Can you hear me okay? My mic sounded pretty quiet on the recording.
Yeah, it just suddenly got much louder now.
Oh, is it too loud?
No, it's leveled out.
Okay. I was worried for a second. Everything's good, though. I sound good?
Yeah.
Alright. Well, without further ado, this is day 3, right?
It is, yeah.
And this is Beyond Bullseye Part 2?
Yeah. What's going on in the battle between Gregory Hazard and May Miracle?
You think if Gregory had to drive, he's like, let me turn on my hazards?
He wouldn't give a shit about other drivers.
Day 3. They readied themselves outside of the room, that squad of executioners. 16 Sealy Rangers, their combined Aether abilities already prepared. 4 combat automatics enhanced by black temperance, tendrils of oil-like matter worming through their workings. Even a massive plasma cannon had been dispatched, mounted on the back of a tortoise-like automatic, ready to flood the backup control center with heat and force should the wrong person emerge from it. So I have a question.
Yes.
Maybe this was already answered, but Pander she's holding is he's like super smart, hackerman, techman, very smart guy. Why did he need what's-his-face to control temperance again?
Oh, that guy specializes in it. It's like, he could probably do it, to be honest, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to do everything personally.
Okay, so it's like just a convenience thing.
Yeah.
Even a massive plasma cannon had been dispatched, mounted on the back of a tortoise-like automatic, ready to flood the backup control center with heat and force should the wrong person emerge from it. These preparations were still not ideal. The vice commander of the Sealy Rangers had been assigned to this task too, but he had gone out into the city on his own little quest. Maxim had been stationed at the primary control center, but once this battle had begun, he'd left to attend to other business. Still, even without them, these men and women had no doubt they would emerge victorious, if they even needed to fight at all. The director had told them victory was assured, after all. That was all the evidence they needed. If the director told them that black was white, then it was just so. Yes,
you can tell I was reading Garibachi while writing this one.
They were confident such that even the word confident implied far too close a resonance to its opposite. The way their hands shook, the way their breath trembled, the way their skin shone with sweat, all of these were simple physiological responses to a combat environment. Just hearing the noises on the other side of the door would have done that to anyone. It reflected nothing that existed in their souls. Even though their focus was on the door, they did not neglect their surroundings. Their awareness was top-notch, and even if it was lacking, the enhanced automatics behind them would surely have made up for it. Nearly every inch of the hallway was accounted for. Nearly. In a place drowned in light, even the smallest sliver of darkness would remain, the tiniest gap in that commendable focus. And, from that crack, something slowly reached out. A claw.
Censored ability name.
What did he say? Why are there 2 little subscripts? Aetheral Space 17.26 Beyond Bullseye Part 2. Bang, 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 bang! It was a strange thing. To fight someone was to accept that you may kill them, and to kill someone was to assert your own value over theirs. May Miracle was an empty person, with no idea what value she might hold within, but she had grown skilled at appraising her opponents. These gunshots were just another part of that. Not one of them hit their target. Even though they were flying through a cloud of smoke, May knew that her aim was perfect. She had not missed. Instead, all 6 bullets had been deflected, pinging into the glass of the tank all around. Her target was not dead. The smoke slowly cleared, and May received the confirmation she needed. Gregory Hazard was slumped, bleeding and burnt against the glass wall. A spiderweb of cracks spread out across the surface of the tank behind him, painted over with the dark red that had sprung from Gregory's wounds. He hadn't been killed by that attack, but he'd certainly been grievously wounded. He must have reactivated his infusion while the blast was hitting him, so the distribution of the damage was uneven across his body. He turned away from the attack at the same time as he defended. The right side of his body had taken the brunt. Most people would have been down for the count, but as May watched, Gregory Hazard pulled himself out of the wall, his good eye fully fixed on her. His right arm swung limp, more bone and chatted flesh at this point. Chatted?
Charred.
Oh,
Everyone's
charred
got Twitch.
flesh at this
Everyone's
point.
doing -2 for him.
And his right leg dragged behind him, foot facing the wrong direction. His left hand was folded into a vicious-looking blade. It was with it that Gregory had deflected May's bullets. Neither of them said anything. Words were unnecessary at this point. Instead, they simply began to walk towards each other. To kill another person was to assert your own value over theirs. Until now, Gregory Hazard had been treating his victory as a foregone conclusion, and May as a mere victim. That wasn't the case anymore. Now that Red Eye was looking at her seriously, he too was appraising his opponent. They continued to walk, Gregory's injuries making him just a tad slower, until they met in the middle of the room. They didn't stop when most people would have. By the time they did stop, their faces were inches from each other, and they could feel each other's breath on their skin. It was only then that they began to talk. Not with their words, but with their bodies. I'm just imagining, like, when Mahito and Yuji are walking at each other in the train station.
But they don't stop until it's uncomfortably close.
Yeah. The military structures of the Supremacy and the UAP both ultimately traced their ancestry to the warriors of the Zaylan Morhan. Yuking Ho, one of those warriors, and later creator of the killing arts, had I thought the creator had a different name. Had developed the martial arts techniques that had been drilled into the armies of the Revolution. Those techniques had survived over 1,000 years, ingrained in the training regimes of the galaxy's great powers, even as they turned against each other. The differences between the training of Gregory, who had served in the Supremacy's military, and May, who had trained as a UAP Nebula, were therefore relatively small. In short, they spoke the same language with different dialects. Gregory kicked May's hand, sending a revolver up into the air. May punched Gregory's face, aiming right for his injured eye. Gregory drove his palm into May's gut, doubling her over. May spun out of the way of Gregory's elbow, aimed for the back of her neck. Gregory jabbed at her eyes. May caught his hand. Gregory pulled it back. May drove her leg into his side. Gregory hooked his arm around the limb and threw her down. May drove her knee into his face in midair and landed on her feet. May raised her hand. May caught her revolver as it came back down. The space was dominated by their labored breathing. Skin swept against skin, muscle struck muscle, and bone smashed bone. That was the sole grammar permitted for this dialogue. Gregory's eye drifted over to the revolver in May's hand, the hand of the arm he'd ravaged earlier. No doubt he was wondering how May was still able to use it after it had gone through so much punishment. Even if the limb was intact, simply moving it should have been agony. The answer was simple. Cloaking. May Miracle had applied her cloaking ability solely to her wounded arm, then adjusted the infusion on the rest of her body so that the ability would be effective even on herself. Her cloaking distanced the target from all senses, after all. That included the sense of pain. In short, she was using her cloaking as a kind of makeshift anesthetic. Of course, because of that uneven infusion, the rest of her body wasn't as strong as it could have been, but she judged that the advantage of having access to both arms was worth the disadvantage of reduced power overall. It also meant that she could reload her revolver. In such close quarters, trying to do so would be suicide, but she needed that option open for when the time came. So, for right now, the gun swept through the air like a club. Even with May's reduced infusion, Gregory was in worse shape than her. May's attack slipped through his defenses, and again the handle of the revolver smashed into Gregory's head. This time it struck his jaw hard, spraying teeth and blood onto the floor beside him. He staggered back, shoulder thumping against the tank, waving his blade arm wildly to keep her at a distance. She was only too happy to oblige. This was her chance. Her hands were a blur as she executed the necessary steps, reloading all 6 bullets of her revolver in the time it took to blink. But, just as she lifted the weapon to resume fire, she saw it. She saw the intent to kill, burning in Gregory's eye, a malevolent thirst containing the certainty that it was about to be quenched, the same look he'd given her right before that massive slash. White Aether crackled. No surprise, she wasn't the only one who'd been making plans. The unfolded world! Gregory Hazard had been making preparations for a while now. Laying traps with every action was the very foundation of Aether combat, after all. This time, in particular, it had been a drip feed. He had slashed the tank after his first unfolded world. He had deflected May Miracle's bullets into the tank right afterwards. He'd been sent flying into it by her blast after that, and now he'd made direct contact once again while retreating. With each of these seemingly unrelated actions, he had infused just a bit more of his aether into the reinforced glass, and now it had reached a point where Gregory could impose an ability upon it. The unfolded world had been an ability designed to change the shape of the world around Gregory. In the end, he'd only managed the crudest explosion of blades, but that still had its uses. For something like this glass, which couldn't sustain such a sudden transformation, the obvious result was destruction. All around them, the tank shattered, and all around them, water crashed forth. A wall of liquid slammed into Gregory and Miracle from all directions, still buzzing with white sparks, hurling them this way and that. The control center's power was lost, plunging the room into near-complete darkness, save for dim red emergency lights. Wasn't that her goal in the beginning?
Well, she wanted to, specifically sabotage something without anyone knowing she'd done it, so at this point that's kind of a wash.
I suppose so. The chaos lasted only for a few seconds. Drains opened in the floor to evacuate the water. The artificial eels, robbed of their environment, twitched weakly on the floor, slowly dying. Gregory and Miracle, too, lay face down. The force of the water hitting them had been worth a few beatings on all its own. I assume all on its own. Still wheezing through his broken teeth, Gregory picked himself up first. The world was spinning. The ground below him was uneven. He focused for just a moment, identifying that distant glint of light, and everything came back into focus. One thing at a time. Looking down at May Miracle, Gregory Hazard folded his hand into a blade one more time. The water parted around his foot as he took a slow step forward and click! Without even moving her face off the floor, Miracle raised a revolver and pointed it right at Gregory's head. "Don't try it," she said, voice muffled, as if her face were pressed against a pillow. Gregory didn't listen. He continued to advance, a smug smirk on his bloody lips. Bang, 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 bang! And his confidence was valid, for he easily deflected each and every bullet before he'd even crossed half the distance to his enemy. The failed shots splashed as they hit the water instead. May Miracle had wasted her final opportunity. They both knew she wouldn't be able to reload again before Gregory reached her, and he intended to reach her quickly. Pouring the last of his strength into his legs, Gregory darted forward. His arm was a sword once more, a blade of vicious paper, ready to separate his enemy's head from her shoulders with a single swing. His smirk spread into a bloody grin. "It's my win, May Miracle! This was it!" This was it. Just like Gregory Hazard, May Miracle had made her preparations. As he lunged forward, she already knew that she'd done everything she could. Yes, this was it. She didn't have time to reload. But did she really need to? As Gregory approached, May swung her free hand, her injured hand, through the air. The pain was agonizing, and she knew she was exacerbating the wound, but this was far past the point where she could afford caution. Gregory, seeing she was planning something, skidded to a halt, kicking up water behind him. Too late. In that hand she held a single bullet. Booster shot! Light zipped out from the bullet in her hand, struck Gregory immediately, and the unfolded world! Something hot pierced May Miracle's body. For a single moment, all strategy, all thoughts of victory were abandoned. Everything in May's head was wiped away, replaced by a single refrain. The most primitive and inescapable thought of the animal brain. "It hurts! It hurts! It hurts! It hurts!" Slowly she looked down. A thin spike of warped metal had impaled May diagonally through her side, emerging from just below her right collarbone. She staggered back, and, strangely enough, found herself able to do so. She'd thought the spike would have been spearing out of the floor, fixing her in place, but no. It moved freely together with her, as if its origin was somewhere on her person. A bizarre frenzy accompanied the pain, throwing May's head into chaos. Some of her thoughts were too slow, some so fast she couldn't even keep up with them. Her legs gave out, she fell to her knees. Gregory Hazard looked down at her. That crimson eye that had shone with resolve now burnt with victory. He had delivered the coup de grace. "The first 2 bullets we fired," he purred. "Do you remember?" The 2 bullets collided in midair, fused together by heat and motion, the gestalt ricocheting and lodging deep inside the railing. "I thought it was interesting, so I took it with me." He pulled the melted bullet free from the railing and stuffed it in his pocket before looking down, one eyebrow raised. "I was hoping to play this card early on. That's why I put it in your jacket pocket, but I wasn't able to properly infuse it." Gregory backed up, unfolding his blades and clutching his head with one hand. With the other, he first seized tight hold of Miracle's jacket, but when she kicked him away, he staggered back and grabbed the railing instead. He spread his arms wide, indicating the waterlogged room around them. "That's why I broke the tank," he grinned. "I infused the water as it passed by me, and when that water landed in your pocket, it passed that infusion onto the bullet. I wasn't sure what direction the blade would end up going, but I guess I got lucky. That looks like a fatal wound to me, don't you think? She couldn't disagree with his assessment. The fact that she hadn't died instantly meant that the spike hadn't pierced her heart, but going off of the angle, it can't have been far off. She couldn't imagine that the spike could have traveled to her body like that without hitting something vital. That would have been a miracle too far. A miracle. Huh? A bitter chuckle rose to her lips. Gregory just raised an eyebrow, his face still a mask of disdain. The crimson light glimmered below, turning his face into a bloody skull. "Thanks for the boost, by the way," he said, lifting his blade. "I'll make good use of it. Your cloaking doesn't work once you've taken this much damage, does it? Poor thing. Come here. I'll set you free." Gregory Hazard took another step forward and lost the fight. To fight someone was to accept that you may kill them, and to kill someone was to assert your own value over theirs. In short, to kill someone was to understand them. May knew that at this point she stood no chance of killing Gregory Hazard, but all the same she had come to understand him over the course of this battle. His caution, his passion, his habits. Several times over the last few minutes she had unloaded her revolver directly at her foe, and each time he had deflected those shots as if the bullets were useless distractions. They certainly had been distractions, but far from useless. May Miracle hadn't been intending to hit Gregory Hazard at all. She had wanted to observe him deflecting her shots. He did it the same way each time. If the bullets came from a certain angle, he would deflect them at a certain other angle. If the bullets came with a certain timing, he would deflect them with a certain other timing. So long as May got the angle and the timing right, she could predict with certainty where the deflected bullets would go. This last volley of bullets hadn't been intended to hit Gregory either. Their purpose was to be deflected, stir up the water at their feet in a certain way, and cause something to drift to a specific location. In that regard, they were a resounding success. Because Gregory Hazard had been wrong about just one more thing. Even with her body in this state, May Miracle was perfectly capable of using her cloaking. In fact, she was. She just wasn't using it on herself. She was using it on the eel Gregory had just stepped on. Oh! The room exploded into white light as electricity coursed into Gregory's body. He got fucking Pikacha'd. His body stiffened up, head jerked back, eyes bulging out of their sockets. His hands clenched and unclenched, his fingers twitching like the legs of a dying spider. He should have been locked into place by the vicious current, but even so he slowly brought his head down to glare at May. His eyes were bloodshot and deranged, his teeth clenched so hard that they were starting to crack. He managed to force out a single word, poisoned by rage and humiliation. Miracle! And then booster shot came to an end. Without the power boost, Gregory Hazard's human body lost to the current, and he went flying backwards, landing a short distance away. He lay unconscious on his back, his eyes rolled up into his skull, smoke drifting out from his open mouth. He was well and truly out for the count.
Got one piece.
Click, click, click. Yeah, is he really dead, or is he like cartoon passed out?
Well, he's unconscious, it says.
Yeah, I knew it.
I never said he was dead.
Down for the count, my ass.
Yeah, but he's unconscious. He's not getting back up anytime soon.
May Miracle please kill this guy. End his life. Click, click, click. May Miracle slowly blinked. The cause and effect of her mind was in utter disarray. She realized she was out of ammo, and only after that registered that she was trying to finish Gregory Hazard off. Could she beat him to death with her revolver? No, she'd lose consciousness too soon. If she blacked out here, she was dead. She had to get out of here. Where could she go? She had to get out of here. Slowly, she rose onto legs that felt like they'd ceased to be limbs, and instead become lumps of numbness. How did he not die to the electrocution? That's like lethal.
He's an Aether user.
But he didn't have his Aether on.
Yeah, well, no, because he reduces Aether, and then she hit him with bloody booster shot, and then the boost from booster shot wore off.
Yeah.
So his infusion was lowered, but there was still a little bit.
Well, he's not infused while he's unconscious, right? Can she just drop the eel on him again?
She's fucking bleeding now. She's got a spike in her. She doesn't know what's going on.
Sigh. Slowly, she rose onto legs that felt like they'd ceased to be limbs and instead become lumps of numbness. Stand, turn, walk. Each simple human function felt like a colossal effort. Was she dying? No, she couldn't worry about that now. The mission was a failure. She hadn't been able to do what she needed to do, but she still had to escape. Why had she done this? May Miracle was an empty person, and here on the verge of the end, that hadn't changed. Whatever impulse had driven her into this hopeless situation, she hadn't been able to identify it. Probably she never would. It wasn't like she'd get another chance. Even if she could move, the deadlock was still. The doors were open. May Miracle came to a halt, wasting energy she couldn't afford to. Why were the doors open? For a second, she thought her wavering vision had caused her to misidentify it, but they were definitely open. Oh yeah, she can't leave either. Well, she can if they're open, but he ate the key.
Yeah, these meant to be, like, super locked.
There was a gap between the doors, a bar of pure black from the hallway beyond. Was the power off out there, too? Was that why the door was open in the first place? No, that didn't make any sense. The doors wouldn't open if the power went out. Five Nights at Freddy's. Horror, 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 horror. You'd basically be asking for a situation like this. Then what? Purple aether flared. No, I'm kidding. She leaned in closer. She sniffed the air.
Which one of the purple aether demons would that be?
Michael Afton. This purple aether. There was a familiar smell, the stink of blood. She was already starting to feel cold, but the chill that ran through her body went beyond that. That wasn't black she could see beyond the door. It was a very dark red. It was a slurry of blood and viscera. It was a nightmare. It was the remains of dozens of people painted across the hallway. It was the work of a monster. May Miracle could feel the presence of something right behind her. The same thing that had done this. Very slowly, she turned her head to look. She came face to face with a mask of white bone. May Miracle opened her mouth to scream, but never got the chance. Who do we know that has bone masks aside from Akamanto?
We know the mysterious beast that's been going around.
Oh, Ruth?
No, not Ruth.
Talk about a skeletal set.
We've seen it a couple of times.
Oh, have we?
Yeah, Officer Dragon saw it in an alley and got spooked, and it just ran off without doing anything. Then we saw it flying into the Oberon when everyone was infiltrating.
How scary.
So no one knows what it is. And now it's just gone on a rampage.
We have some Aetheral questions now, don't we?
We do.
So many. Room asks, if you were to live on one of the planets or territories represented by the Central Governing Council, which would you choose and why?
So if I were to live on one of their planets.
Yeah.
Well, represented.
What's the highest quality of life?
I would say highest quality of life. Either Jungwa or well, it depends because obviously the society has there's more and less comfortable parts of the society, but either Jungwa or maybe I wouldn't say definitely not Adros. So that place is a shithole.
What's the planet with no Aether? They have like the freak ass pilgrims.
Rakebone.
Yeah, is that a good place to live?
If you're a Puritan, maybe.
Are they like the Aether Amish?
Basic. Well, the naming scheme is like based on Puritan sort of names and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that in there.
What about Aberfasad? Is that a nice place to live?
I'd say it's okay.
Yeah, I would live at Aberfasad. Rurum asks, what happened to Henry Aether Armaments, Mammon, Belphegor, and Beelzebub?
I would say the first two were probably reclaimed by the Makers Guild, and they probably have it like in a storeroom somewhere. Beelzebub, currently a climber has that. That's her sword that she uses.
Oh. Before Gale, who was a notable victim of glutton or victims of glutton replicancy that allowed him to leapfrog up to supreme tier?
So he mostly stayed in the underworld on his like quick leapfrog up to supremacy. So it would have been like underworld figures like mafia agents, things like that. And
the birthday bandito. I've been waiting for you.
He did like the Blackbeard thing, like no one knew who the fuck he was until suddenly he's supreme.
Yeah. He was like, yes, my crew, the Black Swordsmen. The birthday bandito.
He fucking ate Gale and was like,
Would Cadman at the power level he was at when he fought Nyan during the Dawn contest have stood a chance against Henry if he were still alive at that point?
I would say it would have been an actual fight, because Henry, in terms of the guy, no chance. He would get like, fucking gibbed by like a big punch. But the Awaken, because when you're fighting Henry, you're fighting like a Pokemon trainer, basically. Like he had some big hitters. He has a Supreme's Awakening, so he could have... Yeah. I would say it's like a pretty equal fight at that point.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have to obey the one at a time Pokemon rules. He can send them all.
Yeah, you
out.
can say he's like Ghetto more than Pokemon Trainer.
Yeah. Do you know what people taste like? They actually taste pretty good.
No one knows what it's like to eat guys.
Yum yum yum. I always imagine him being like a freak who like unhinges his jaw like a snake and it like cracks so he can fit the skull in. And he just like slides the whole body down there.
Yeah, like Henry and all his guys are basically just like serial killers with Aether.
He has to wear a bib because he makes a mess.
He loves making a mess.
Does he like dip people in like wing sauce?
If there's a way to eat a guy, he's done it. Is what I'll say.
Oh hell yeah! Aetheral. Oh, sorry.
He's like
Weiser asks
Sukuna if he also liked fast food.
Weiser asks, did any of Helis Audrey's variants ever keep a permutation ritual going on for a while in a stalemate? Did they ever have to be forced to keep fighting each other, or were they usually all willing?
No, they were very quick affairs. Like, it probably took like a week, usually, for each. She would like go out to like a private planet, do it. All her variants usually understood and were like up for it. And yeah, they'd be taken care of in short order.
Stift asks, if Arcana automatics are so great, why don't people keep trying to make better ones? If they can't, they don't know how anymore.
Well, yeah, we've had one mention that Halcyon are trying to like make their own Aether automatic.
Hell yeah!
It's mentioned once, I believe, when we have when the description of how Dragon stole the tower, and they mentioned the Aeon project, Aeon.
It's a shame the Aether Guru is dead. You could just have him read the core of like those auto brains. It'd be easy as hell. Room asks, as an admin of the Crimson Carnival group's guardian entities, did Nail Mandarin have the ability to do entity assimilation, or is it a separate skill/ability?
No, he did not have the ability to do that. I'll say neither did Akamanto. It's something exclusive to Nararikon and him as the sort of central point of a guardian entity network.
Stift asks, what were Carrie at the Canny's Aether abilities?
So
that is.
So that was the Carrier of the Canny was the one that got killed by Imperator 1. His ability was called Pieces of Silver, and basically it's a cross. It's like similar to Roof, how it's like a cross between an armament and natural ability. But he had these 7 like these. I don't remember the exact number, but there is an exact
millennial
number.
Items.
How many pieces of silver were there? Hold on 1 second.
What do you mean? You can't Google it. It's your series.
30. He has 30 pieces because he's based off Judas.
Oh, okay. That's fun.
So he has 30 of them, and it's like these lumps of like liquid metal silver that you can shape into various weapons and use remotely.
Find my 30 silver coins, boy. Alright, let's end it there for now, but thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.